essential oils are different than perfumes, toxic perfumes. They don't cover up your scent. They mix with the natural aroma of your own body chemistry, and it gives you a signature perfume scent. And it's a scent that will drive your husband crazy because it smells like you, but you're intensifying it with some of God's plants. And it really done well with the art of the perfumer, so to speak, when you mix some of these and use some of these blends that Gary came up with, you're gonna have some really wonderful aromas. A woman asked Coco Chanel the question once, where should one use perfume? Coco answered, wherever one wants to be kissed. So keep that in mind as we're doing our class. Where are you going to use these oils? As we all know, essential oils don't just smell good. They were created by God for a purpose. So let's talk for a little bit about quality. So before we discuss ways to use essential oils in this class, let's clarify something. Not all essential oils are created equal. Most of us know that already. We only recommend Young Living essential oils because they're the only oils on the market that we trust to use in and on our bodies. So for fun, we're going to categorize these oils that are out on the market into 3 categories: food grade, perfume grade, and premium. So the food grade oils, which I kind of call fast food oils, they're like the low quality oils, cheap oils produced for the food industry. They may still contain traces of pesticides and fertilizers and cheap filler oils and all those things, but that's not really the biggest point. If you're distilling plants with pesticides and chemicals and stuff, that actually is getting into the bottle. It's concentrated just like the oil is, and it's getting into the bottle. But even if it's labeled organic, that doesn't mean it's worth what you're paying for it. That doesn't mean it's doing anything. In fact, it's impotent. No pun intended, but it is. It just has no power, right? If the oil is actually organic, if it is, like they say, it still doesn't mean it works, which makes sense. It's only produced to flavor foods or beverages, right? So it doesn't need to necessarily work. It's very expensive and time-consuming to properly distill essential oils without destroying those precious constituents. One wrong move and the oil is ruined. It may smell or taste nice, but it won't work. And we want oils that work. That's what we use Young Living oils for. The next one is perfume grade, which is this level of essential oil is probably the most common and the most dangerous. These are the oils that contain synthetic toxic chemicals and fragrances. They have pesticides and all that stuff in there. Companies distilling at this level usually use chemicals like hexane to gain a higher yield of oil per harvest. And solvents like this, even when just applied to the skin and not ingested, they can be highly toxic. And some can even have cancer risks. This is getting into your bloodstream. It makes sense that companies would do this, especially when you think about the fact that they're selling to a culture that's totally used to toxic fragrances. They're even addicted to it. They like the smell of it. They're rubbing bounce sheets on them because they think it smells good, right? Think name brand room sprays and perfumes and candles and plug-in air fresheners and all these things. They're also used to cleaning products and fabric softeners and all those things. Synthetic fragrances aren't a big deal to them. And so they don't even try to, distill it in a certain way. But Young Living is different. I've said for years that Young Living is the only brand that I trust enough to use on my children or dare take internally. In fact, that's actually what convinced me to start saying, when I first started using oils, I didn't even mention what brand it was. I just started teaching about oils because I was learning so much and I was so excited. And I wasn't doing it as a business. So I thought, why do I need to name a brand, right? And then I started realizing as I studied more, the stuff out there is really dangerous. And if I don't say what oils, and I'm teaching people how to make a throat spray, they could go use the other stuff and poison themselves. So that's when I started to realize, no, it really does matter what you're using, and it matters to tell people what you're using. You have to be careful with what you're putting on your skin or inhaling too, because again, all goes into your bloodstream. And since we're talking here about essential oils and intimacy, no way do you want to put some cheap, toxic essential oil there, right? Just saying, just be really careful. I trust Young Living oils because I've been to their farms. Many of us have here. Tina's been there. So many people on this call, I'm sure, have been to the farms. I've watched the farming and the distillation process. And I know how absolutely obsessive Gary Young was over quality. And now his family and his sons are carrying that legacy on, his team of people that he trusted. And I'm not just talking about purity, but also efficacy. Quality is a big deal. Our oils have never been touched by pesticides or chemical fertilizers. They're watered with pure water, no chlorine in our water, right? That's going into the plant. What do you think when you break a plant and that liquid, there's liquid, not just oils, but there's liquid to it. And it's coming from the watering of the plant. The plants are harvested at their peak and distilled at exactly the right temperature, exactly the right pressure, and for the exact amount of time necessary to produce a superior oil. And it's different from plant to plant too, for oil to oil. It's all different. That's why it's so important. It takes expertise and rigorous testing. Most people don't even know how to do it. They don't know what they're looking for. So it's very important. And so that's why it's such a big deal to me. All right. So before applying an essential oil for the first time, you're going to want to test it on a small area of your skin. Most oils, I mean, for me, I can apply almost all the oils neat, depending on where I'm putting it. Maybe I do remember one time I had put lemongrass on my face. I'll never do that again. But most of the oils I don't have to dilute, but everybody is different. And it also, again, depends on where you're putting it. So you always want to check, and you always want to test it. You don't want to get in the middle of a good night and and realize I should have diluted that. Remember, we're talking about sensitive areas of the body, so be careful, but don't be anxious about it. It's really okay. I mean, again, my husband and I use oils and we don't dilute hardly any of them. They're not going to hurt you, but if it's spicy, it may not be fun. So you want to make sure you at least have a fatty oil at your bedside in case you need it, even after the fact. Okay, so with a fatty oil, I'm talking about like coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil, sweet almond oil, jojoba. Those are all really good choices. More than anything else, I wind up using avocado oil because I can get it at Costco. So I use it for a lot of things. But you might want to use, if you have a favorite, jojoba is probably my favorite skin oil. Young Living has a wonderful V6 blend too that you can use, and that's a wonderful choice. Most people love that one. It does have gluten in it. So if you're that sensitive, you might want to check something out, but I know a lot of people who are gluten-free and they still use it. So including me, I can use it and have no problem. I do want to do this prize. Okay, I have one more prize that I have to do now. Let's do a lip gloss. How about a Savvy lip gloss? This is abundant, okay? Who knows, besides using another fatty oil, what would you do if you got essential oils in your eye? Oh, I saw the name. Let's see, who was that? I mean, Lisa's catching it, but yep. Everybody knows, yay, milk. That's right, use milk. You can use a fatty oil if that's all you have, but it's not fun to get fatty oil in your eye either. So if you flush it with milk, it's literally instantaneous. You flush it with milk and then rinse it with water. Milk is a lot easier to rinse out of your eye than oil. So it's not gonna be fun if you have to use fatty. But if all you have is a fatty oil, then just put it onto a Kleenex and wipe it. Don't pour oil in your eye, and have it ready. You can also use almond milk. You can use any coconut milk, anything that has fat to it will dilute the oil. And it's not going to hurt you, but it's not going to feel good at all. So you want to make sure you have something ready if that were to happen. Also, one last word of caution: essential oils hate petrochemicals, okay, and condoms, and even more more than I do. I just not going to do that. Essential oils and condoms do not mix, okay? An essential oil will basically melt the condom, as it should. This sort of fun is for skin to skin. Now, if you must use a condom, there's apparently a more natural lambskin kind of option. I have no idea about that, but I have been told that is a good natural thing to use so that you're not using, plastic or rubber or whatever it's made out of. So just a tip: no oils, no condoms with the oils. All right. So it's often been said that women need time to prepare for intimacy, while men can go from 0 to 60 in a minute. So let's be proactive, okay? Let's start getting in the mood early. Sometimes we spend more time planning dinner than we do prepping for a hot date with our husband, right? And then we wonder why we're having peanut butter and jelly in bed instead of a steaming hunk of filet mignon. If you want something sizzling and juicy, plan for it. Marinate ahead of time. You won't be sorry. So let's talk about a few ideas. Okay, I like to prepare my bedroom. I like to get it ready. My bedroom is my sanctuary. And I want it to communicate that this is a peaceful place for the two of us to explore an adventure, right? So I can, throw clutter into the study to deal with later. Not my office. I want my office clutter free too. But if there's clutter around, it stresses me out. I want it to be a place where it's calm and it's really a sanctuary. I want it to feel like a spa in our bedroom, especially if we're planning a special night. So you want to get rid of the clutter, get rid of the clothes and the laundry basket and the shopping bags and the shoes, whatever is hanging around on the floor or whatever, at least get it out of sight, right? Get rid of the clutter. If you can put away most, if not all technology, that's even better. It'll be healthier. It'll be less distracting. You don't want to hear beeps going off in the middle of your romantic time. You don't want to feel, Apple Watches vibrating. It's a distraction, and it can be really irritating too. So think ahead on that. I'm trying to read your talk. Speaking of distractions, I'm trying to read y'all's comments. I'll have to go to the comments later and answer any questions. All right. If your sheets are old, splurge on some new sheets, y'all. Okay. Get some fresh sheets, find some on sale and get some fresh sheets, and then scent your linens. Do a DIY pillow spray. I have some on my website, Common Sense Mom, if you need some recipes, or use some of the recipes that we're going to talk about in this class. But spray your bed, spray your sheets, make it smell really nice. If here's an idea, splurge for some silk pillowcases. That really makes things feel a little bit more posh. The silk. First of all, it's good for your skin. It's good for your face. It's good for your hair. It doesn't, pull out your hair, and it just feels wonderful. It feels very plush and nice and your husband's going to see that and think, oh, she took time for me to prepare. That's really cool. Another thing you can do is use electric candles or string lights, or just the light setting on your Aria or on your diffuser can really give a nice ambiance to the room. So that's a really good one. And make sure take a shower or a bath, maybe a nice candlelit bath beforehand. Fix yourself up. You want to feel your best, and you want to feel like you're ready to be seen. So make sure that you prepare yourself ahead of time too. And if he comes home from a job where he gets dirty and stinky at work or whatever, have a nice shower or a bath prepared for him. Maybe feed him first, depending on how hungry he comes home. He may want dinner, but set everything out that he needs to prepare for you. And please don't use toxic synthetic candles or perfumes or fragrances. None of them. That's an order. Not really, but really, just don't. So if you want candles, again, the electric candles are excellent. I get a brand, they're 3D. The flame is 3D and they flicker. And so literally you cannot tell it's not a real candle from across the room. So actually, even right in front of it, I had them going on a coffee table, and my friend's toddler was going around the coffee table and she about had a heart attack. I'm like, oh, it's not fire. So there are some real looking electric candles, and they are nice. But again, the diffuser itself has a nice flickering, the Desert Mist has a nice flickering setting. And even just having a few diffusers in there can be nice too. Maybe you don't have to have them all on. Oh, that's really cool. I had 3 going in one room once, and it was just magical. So even if you have little kids at home, you can prepare a little. Every time your husband and you are together may not be a filet mignon night, but every time can be special. And every time you can make each other feel special by preparing. So go ahead and drop some fun or creative ways that you prepare for your husband. into the comments section. We would love to hear. So during puberty, God gifts young women with the awakening of tender emotions. He also gives them powerful hormones. Anybody who I have 7 daughters, so I can attest to the fact that there's lots of hormones going on at puberty. Both of these things support and promote God's natural design for marriage and fertility. The Bible even talks about this awakening in Song of Solomon. I charge you, O daughters of Jerusalem, by the gazelles or by the does of the field, do not stir up nor awaken love until it pleases. This warning to the daughters of Jerusalem is talking about the danger of stirring up sexual desire before you can morally do something about it, right? So in other words, don't rev up an engine that isn't allowed out of the garage. Most moms have given that warning to their daughters. But God gave us those hormones and desires for a purpose. He loves us, and he wanted us to save those desires for what he had in store for us later. And it's awesome, right? And totally, totally worth the wait. It's all part of a God-designed bonding process. So awakening love is a real thing. It's the stirring of those hormones and emotions that work together to help us connect in a healthy way, to emotionally and physically bond with our spouse. Okay, but you may say, well, when you're young and you're carefree, that's one thing, but what about later, right? What about pregnancy and babies and sickness and PMS and finances and stress? And what about menopause, right? Or premenopause? So menopause is when the term hot and bothered changes its meaning completely. Or hot and bothered, all right, usually about 4 a.m. when all the things we didn't get done bothers us like crazy. But romance is not what we're hot about at that point.
That's right.
Those are the times we're like, okay, what do I do about this? But there are times when both men and women don't feel in the mood as often, right? There are just different seasons of life. Again, it could be stress or lack of sleep or conflict, even a bout of depression or something. There's all sorts of things. Whatever the reason, essential oils can help. Progessence Plus has been a game changer for so many women. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more later. But there are tons of oils that can help a couple to relax and focus while also, stimulating and promoting bonding, which we're also going to talk more about. All right, so we're still getting warmed up. So hang in there while we cover a few more basics. Let's talk for a minute about the 3 main ways we use essential oils. Okay, topically, aromatically, and internally. So we already talked about diluting spicy oils in the bedroom, but, of course, some people need to always dilute them, but in the bedroom, it's even more important to be careful. So while some couples can totally use them diluted, others are very sensitive. And remember, everyone is different. So even if you can handle it, that doesn't necessarily mean your husband can. So one of the best parts of using this topically is that the molecules in essential oils are so tiny, they're able to penetrate the skin and get into the bloodstream. That's their superpower. So that's one of the things that happens when you use it topically. So it is really a good thing if you can use it that way. Aromatically, you can diffuse it. Simply inhaling essential oils can have a powerful effect. Also, just wearing them, scenting your sheets and blankets, you're getting it aromatically that way. Run it through your hair. If you're like a walking diffuser at that point, spray it into the air. All sorts of ways to use it aromatically. Even just rubbing it in your hands and inhaling it. Young Living also has an amazing line called Vitality that's especially labeled with directions for taking internally. So the Vitality oils, what is the difference between a Vitality oil and oils that are not labeled as Vitality? Anybody know? Yep, I've got lots of answers. Lisa's paying attention. The only difference is the label. That's it. So my husband loves a few drops of peppermint in a glass in his water. I don't like it that way. I'd rather put the peppermint straight in my mouth and then drink the water, but he loves to do it that way. So there's other ways of using it internally. Have you ever made a suppository? So don't freak out. It actually is easy to do. You can make it with coconut oil. You can make it Actually, that's the easiest one, is to just do it with coconut oil. They have molds that they sell on Amazon that are shaped like little bullets, like little suppositories. And you add your oils to it and put it in the refrigerator or freezer. And then as soon as they're done, pop them out and wrap them individually, and you have them ready for you. But yeah, you can put your oils right into each suppository separately. You can also, if you don't have a mold, you can just wrap foil around a pencil and, pour it in there that way too. So you can do it lots of different ways. But a lot of women like to make suppositories for lubrication. So some of these recipes that we give you, you can use to make some suppositories. So that's another option for you. All right. So who turned up the heat in here, y'all? So the sense of touch and scent are especially important for bonding. We see this even in a mother's relationship with her newborn, right? When you've nursed your baby, or that skin to skin after childbirth, that is so, so, so important for bonding. But in sexual intimacy, sometimes we need to be more deliberate with this. If you've never used essential oils this way, I hope we don't shock you too badly, because we're going to talk about some bonding. Aside from some of the oils we've already mentioned, some simple getting started oils to have on hand are Ylang Ylang, Lady Schleriol, and Sensation. These oils are super gentle and they smell amazing. So they're great used in like an all over body or intimate massage. Actually, Lady Schleriol is one of my favorites. I actually didn't like the smell of it when I first ever smelled it. And now, I use it as a perfume. It's like, I would totally use it as a perfume. So I'd encourage you to try it out. Sometimes when you have good memories associated with it, that affects it too. But they're super, super gentle. A few more recommendations are sandalwood, rose, neroli, and myrrh. Ylang Ylang, though, has been used historically as an aphrodisiac, and it's one of the main oils in Sensation, probably why that's one of my favorites too. Sandalwood, which I have diffusing in here today, has a mysterious sensual aroma. So it blends really, really well with your own body's natural scent. This makes it perfect for what we're doing here. So I think it smells way better on than it does out of the bottle. And it lingers. It really lingers. And it's a good kind of linger. Remember, just like anything worth achieving, practice makes perfect. So the more you practice these things, the better you'll get at it. And while you're practicing, take the time to study each other's desires and prompts. And look, teach your husband to recognize your prompts too. What are the things that make each of you what do you like? Think about what you like, and then try to pay attention to what he likes. Do you notice an increase in breathing or an excited response? That could be a cue to keep going, right? No response, maybe you need to try something else, right? So just experiment. And be sure to let him know what's actually working for you or doesn't work for you. Something, if you don't like something, he can't read your mind. And never, ever fake a response. You're just shooting yourself in the foot. Trust me, you do not want to go, because once you start faking it, you have to keep faking it. And it could go for years and years and years. So don't fake it. He needs to know, and he wants to know what pleases you. Another Song of Solomon verse. My beloved put his hand by the latch of the door, and my heart yearned for him. So I'm just going to leave that there for a second. That yearning feeling is what we're after here. So set out right from the beginning with a mutual decision to take your time. Take your time. And both of you need to remember that men are created differently than women. Sometimes women who seem to have cooled off in the bedroom actually just haven't been given enough time to get going. Either the husband doesn't realize it, or just doesn't know how this works, or she doesn't know, or maybe you're being a little not assertive enough to speak it out, and or shy or whatever. But communicate. That's super important. And that's why practicing the art of intimate touch using essential oils can be such a powerful, powerful tool for intimacy. Any other ladies have anything they want to add to this part? Feel free to unmute and add to anything I say, like ladies.
What you said about verbalizing what you like, I think that is just so, so important. And I just want to reiterate that. Like, there's been things, for years that have gone on and nothing like big deal, but and then you say something finally and they're like, you never told me that. You
Yeah.
literally have to spell it out. Like, you have to say, I like, I don't like, and have this, and having the conversations beforehand can sometimes be a lot of fun too. So
Yes,
they're good conversations to have. It builds intimacy in your marriage.
I agree. And it's funny. I remember being so embarrassed when we first got married, and my husband would want to talk about something. I'm like, oh, don't talk about it. Don't look at me. Just get so, but we had, you got to get past these things. That's part of trust and intimacy and all those things. Okay. So next slide. All right. Yes, I used the word moist mostly to entertain myself. So my kid's like, Mom, don't say that word. I don't know why this became like a taboo word, but something happened that I missed apparently. If you know what it is, let me know. I'm probably not in the right generation. Most of the oils that we recommend here can be used intimately. The Lady Sclareol blend, again, one of my favorites, can help with occasional dryness. And it has this kind of gentle warmth that can also help stimulate libido when applied or massaged directly. I'm just going to say, yes, there, live a little. You actually can. It works. Lady Sclareol contains geranium, coriander, vetiver, orange, clary sage, bergamot, ylang-ylang, sandalwood, Spanish sage, jasmine, Idaho blue spruce, and spearmint. So it is jam-packed with some excellent, excellent oils. You can also apply a drop or two of clary sage, sensation, or Lady Sclareol, undiluted, to the inner thigh and pubic bone beforehand, like in preparation, either before bed or, maybe a few hours before. Just get ready. Again, remember, everybody's different. So even if you like a little fire and ice there, doesn't mean your husband will. So you may want to do some testing ahead of time, because if he doesn't like it and he gets surprised, it kind of defeats the purpose. So you may want to just make sure. So a lot of us get stuck in our heads during lovemaking, right? You ladies know what I'm talking about. You get self-conscious about your body. You worry about your own responsiveness, is what you sound like, what he's thinking, if the lights are low enough, the list goes on, right? We just get self-conscious. But ladies, you are enough. Can I just repeat that for you? You are enough. But the important thing is that you need to be able to relax and believe it. Okay, that's something that needs, if you have trouble with that, that's something you really need to prioritize and work on and figure out, where you're getting stuck there. But oils can help. It can really help you relax and focus and really work through things. Try 2 drops of the blend Surrender on your temples and brainstem throughout the day. Maybe diffuse it too. Surrender contains lavender, lemon, black spruce, Roman chamomile, angelica, and mountain savory. One thing you can do too is pray ahead of time. When you're using this oil, pray and ask God to really help you to focus, to be able to help you to believe that you are enough. You also may have your head full of other things. Kids, bills, a conflict with a friend, all kinds of things could be going on. But if you manage to get your head back in the game and be present with your husband, intimacy can actually help relieve some of that stress. A nice rush of happy hormones may be exactly what you need. So learn to relax and focus on being present. That's key. And remember, a lot, maybe even most of us, or most of how we're viewing sex and enjoying sex has more to do with the brain than it does the body, right? Remember, your brain tells your body what to do. So relaxation and focus and releasing anxiety and getting into what you're doing is huge. That's what's going to make a difference when you're actually in the act. So peace and calming, stress away, And our CBD Calm may be really helpful. If you're really struggling with some anxiety there, those will help you relax. By the way, if you're really daring, you actually might want to try the CBD muscle rub. It's super slick and it has all the power of the CBD and the oils and everything else, but it's also a little spicy. So don't say I didn't warn you. This is not for the not for the beginning. That's probably not a good beginner thing to do, but rub just inside the thighs. It can be extremely stimulating. So try it. And remember, our CBD, by the way, has 0% THC. So don't worry about that. All right. Have you ever noticed how unsexy you feel when you don't feel confident about your looks? You know, when maybe you didn't shave your legs, or you feel bloated, or you didn't bother with your makeup, or you feel like maybe I need a shower and I'm just going to go to bed. In contrast, how much easier is it to get in the mood when you feel fresh and you feel clean and you feel energetic and you feel like you look really, really good? You know, and you feel sexier that way, right? It's easier to get into it. So maybe it's been a while since you've purchased some pretty panties or a sexy nightgown, you know, and I know sometimes times are tough and maybe a new nightgown isn't in the budget, but splurge a little. See if you can cut something else out and go ahead and get that. No granny panties, right? Buy something scandalous. It's for his eyes only, so live a little there too. And of course, being and feeling healthy can be a huge part of how in the mood you are. So make sure you're getting enough rest. Make sure you're eating nutritious foods. You're drinking plenty of water. You're using the Ninja Red, right? That can be a huge, huge boost to energy and feeling better. And make sure you're not overdoing alcohol or caffeine or sugar. All those things can affect you. And a nice trip to the salon or a massage at the spa could also do wonders. And I'm not saying you have to be all decked out every time you plan to have sex, but take some time to make yourself feel confident and fresh and beautiful. It's going to make a big difference.
I just wanted to just say that I listened to like Christian women's sex podcast, and something that they had said is that, you know, especially for moms, when we are done with the day, you know, we have like all of this like momness on us, and something that we can do to kind of get into like a mood for sex is like getting in the shower and like washing all of that off, and just like using that shower at the end of the day to just like get yourself like in that mindset and ready. And that kind of goes with what you were saying about like feeling fresh and just like that confidence.
Yes, absolutely. That's a good idea. You know, when my kids were little, my husband used to do the bedtime routine. There was a period, not the whole time, but several years when he did the bedroom routine, and he would let me go and have time to go take a bath. I would light candles back in my candle days, but you know, and actually I did use lavender back then because that's what I would use in my bath. But I took that time to just calm down and to feel relaxed and to feel clean. And it really made a difference in my mental and emotional state to have that time. So yeah, find out what you can do and talk to your husband about what your needs are there. And I'm sure he'll make it happen, especially if you explain to him, you know, what it is you need. So let's talk a little bit about the art of building anticipation. Okay, this is fun. A wow is sometimes in the wait. So this is the opposite of lust because it's aimed right where it should be, right? Within marriage. Lust is all about building up a desire and an obsession over something you can't or shouldn't have. And here we're talking about building up a desire and obsession and a burning for something that God has given a great big yes to. So it's all perfectly, beautifully, honorably mind-blowing. So relish every second of it. So how about handing him a note that says, "Oh, darn, I forgot to wear any panties today." I mean, it's going to get his attention, right? Probably for the rest of the day. I did this once at a restaurant, and you know, we had a really fast meal. Make sure the note you hand him is scented with whatever oils you used last time. Hat tip to the limbic system. It's gonna remind him of what happened before. Again, make sure you shave your legs, or if that's something that's important to you, or do your hair, put on makeup if you wear it. whatever, just make that effort to look and feel your best. And don't forget to apply some oils to your inner thighs. That's going to be a kind of a trigger for you. You could also secretly slip a flirty note or even a pair of panties into his coat pocket to where he'll find it later. So I have a story about that. You want me to tell you my story? So when my husband and I were the early years of our marriage, he traveled a lot, sometimes weeks at a time. And so I started this tradition of, I would always put a pair of panties somewhere in either in his luggage that he'd find when he got there, or sometimes I would sneak it into one of his blazers, his suit pockets or whatever, so that he would find it. And I always had it, sprayed with my perfume or whatever. And so one time he got home from a trip, or maybe he called me. I can't actually remember if it was home but he said, honey, did you put a pair of panties in my bag? And I said, oh, actually, I guess I forgot this time. And he said, well, because there are a pair of panties in my bag. And then I'm like, why would there be panties in your bag? And then he showed me what they were. They were a pair of my old stretched out pregnancy panties, hangs her way, white cotton, holes. It's just like, honeymoon's over. I'm sure that's what he was thinking. But it was so funny the way he's like scared to almost tell me, just in case I had thought that was a good thing to do.
That is hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so go ahead and drop your flirty tips in the comment section. How do you build excitement for bedroom fun? And Lisa is going to choose one of you who shares to win this beautiful little perfume bottle. Isn't it gorgeous? It's got just a little glass thing on the end for it. And this will be perfect for making some of our blends later. It's going to come with one of my perfume cards. And this has a perfume recipe on it. And then on the back, it talks about perfume notes, the top notes, middle notes, and base notes of perfuming. So she's going to give one of those away. So be sure and drop your comments there, all your tips for everybody to write down. Yep, Bryce is showering together. That's good. Invite him to the shower with you. Yeah. Sending flirty memes. Those are good. Yep. I always get worried about the pictures though, because pictures, they could accidentally go to the wrong person. So be careful about that kind of stuff.
Stacy and I cannot be trusted to send pictures to our husbands. Not be
No,
good.
it definitely could accidentally go to the wrong place.
Funny story about that, actually. One time I don't do that normally because I'm terrified of technology. But one time I did send like a sorta kind of, it was like, I think I was in a bra in the stairwell or something. And Doug had his phone on the table at a meeting with the president of DuPont.
Oh my gosh. I sent him a text once that wound up, he was giving a presentation in a room full of people, but it was just words. It wasn't pictures, thank the Lord. You can also, another thing you can do is like in the middle of the day, go without a bra or panties at home, when you're just walking around the house. He may be tempted to peek, but don't let him. Just maybe a few quick flashes now and then, but that can stir things up, especially depending on what you're wearing or how thin it is or whatever. Of course, that changes when you have kids a certain age. You have seasons where you can do this sort of thing, or unless they're in bed. Sometimes I'll put oils on my hands that he recognizes from last time, or that have good memories to it. And I'll just walk past and rub my hand through his hair, across his face with the oils on my hand. So, but again, it's like, not yet. I'm just kind of laying the groundwork. Okay, so this is just kind of a tip from an older wife to a younger wife. Try to avoid referring sexy talk with your husband as talking dirty. Words really do matter. Sexy or spicy or alluring, those are good words. They're positive words. get your thesaurus out if you want to get creative. But I am all about words and their meanings because they do have power. It affects your mind the way that you speak. So try to be deliberate. Remember that your relationship with your husband is pure and good. And when we were first married, this was actually something my husband pointed out to me because I had just kind of picked up some of the words of the world and didn't even think about certain things. But we pick those things up because we grew up hearing them or because of television or whatever. But I think changing our language helps to change our attitudes towards sex. Oh, can we advance the slide one more time? So you can, and what you're going to use that for is you're going to take your essential oil that you're using, or if you have a blend made up, you're going to have the blend made up in here. And then you're going to add some carrier oil to it, depending on how much carrier oil you want to use. And so I like to, instead of having the oil by the bed, I like to use a cute little dropper or something so that that's sitting out on my bedside bowl. I just like it that way. But you can do whatever you want. You can add it however you want. But the goal is to mix your bedside oils up in the little bowl. So all you have to do when you're ready to use them is dip your finger in it. I do suggest putting it on a tray so you don't, ruin the finish on your nightstand, because oils can be tough on there like that. But yeah, this way you can, and if you need a little more dilution, you can just add a little bit more carrier to it. And you may want to just try it neat first, just to see how that goes. Okay, let's talk about sensation. Again, sensation is one of my favorites. We do call this a good beginner oil, but its powerhouse to me is the ylang ylang. But it has ylang ylang, bergamot, jasmine, and a few other oils that encourage feelings of love and affection. So it makes it a good starter love oil, so to speak. You can diffuse it. You can put a few drops on your inner thighs, below your belly button, in your cleavage, or if you dare, apply it directly. And then when you're finished, rub your hands, and then again, walk by your husband and slowly brush his face and whisper in his ear how much you're looking forward to later. You'll love it. All right, Rose. Who has our Young Living Rose? How many people have that? Is it not amazing? I love Rose. I don't like smelling it right out of the bottle. I like it when I put it on, or if I dilute it. It's like it's too much right out of the bottle. So keep that in mind if you ever open it up and think, that's not what I thought it was going to smell like. It's because it's extremely concentrated. Rose has been considered the queen of essential oils and has been treasured and used for well over 1,000 years in beauty treatments, as an aphrodisiac, and for emotional tranquility. Yes, a little goes a long way. You're very right. Rose oil has the highest frequency of all essential oils. And do your research. This oil is used for way more than feeling frisky. I mean, this is a great bedroom oil, but it is good for so many things. People normally think that rose oil is outrageously expensive, and it is one of the most expensive and popular oils on the planet. But did you know that it takes nearly 10,000 roses to produce 1 5 ml bottle of essential oil? I mean, that kind of puts things into perspective when you think about it. Do you know how much it costs to have a dozen roses delivered to somebody's house? I know, because I just recently looked it up. It's almost $100 to send somebody a dozen roses. Wouldn't you rather have a single bottle of rose essential oil for Valentine's Day than a few bouquets that are going to wilt and die in a few days? Try it. Tell your husband, skip the florist. I'd like to have 10,000 roses for my birthday instead, or for Valentine's Day, or whatever. And after he gets over what you just said, then you can let him know, oh no, I'm just talking about this single little bottle of oil. So he may actually, once he realizes how powerful this is, honestly, he's going to be asking for it for his birthday. So keep that in mind. All right. Name that scent. So before things get too wild, remember to take your time to get creative. We've talked about taking things slow and taking our time. So slowly rev up the engine with a little game time. And these can be super fun. So let's talk about a fun name that scent oil game. Okay. So blindfold your partner and use a paintbrush or a savvy brush with your bedside oils mixed with a carrier. Like I happen to have a little savvy brush right here. Okay, so mix some oils with a carrier and write a word on his stomach or wherever you choose, on his back, however you want to do it, and go very, very slowly because he has to guess what you've written. Okay. So you're writing with a diluted oil, and he's feeling it, right? And he's smelling it because that's what's on the brush. This can be a lot of fun as he tries to guess the word. So you can use one of the sexy blends we're going to talk about tonight, or whichever one just happens to be your favorite. There's a lot of blends that are already mixed up. And mix it with a carrier oil like jojoba or coconut or the V6, if you can use that one. Again, while you're writing it over and over again. Also tell him no touching. This is not a touching time. This is a stirring things up time, so no touching. You could have a timer and give him a reward if he guesses before the timer goes off. And if it goes off before he's guessed, you get to choose a reward. So, and then afterwards switch places, and then he gets to draw on you. So you can modify it however you want, but it can be really fun. And by the time you've finished with this game, if you finish this game, the anticipation will be pretty high. So roll with it. Okay, one more game idea though, before we move on. So how about if you tell him that you've put a particular oil, one that he will recognize, okay? Don't do some random oil he's never smelled, but you've put a particular oil somewhere on your body that he has to find it without touching you, okay? All right, so you lay down, you let him explore, but no touching. If he finds the spot before your timer goes off, you have to take off whatever article of clothing he requests or some other thing he wants. If he doesn't guess, you get to make a request. So flip-flop that and make that however you want to. Yes, black pepper, some like it hot and not just in the kitchen. So have y'all used Young Living's black pepper yet? Anybody used it in the bedroom? Yeah, we got some hot mamas in here. All right. It's helpful for increasing concentration, supporting digestion, supporting the nervous system, and when used during massage, it's great for stimulating circulation and blood flow. It's also over-the-top stimulating. So some people enjoy the warmth of black pepper when used topically. There we go again, applied there. Some people like that. So first-time users should dilute because, again, this is considered a spicier oil and it does create a warm sensation. But it can be used on the inner thighs and shoulders, abdomen, intimacy, however you want to use it. And some people, I know some couples that like to add a drop of it to their sensation massage oil as a lubricant. So, hey, turn up the heat, right? All right, here's one of our recipes, the bedroom buttermint oil. And yes, it's edible. So let's start with some peppermint. The intense cooling effect of peppermint essential oil is great for sore muscles and to keep you alert. It's also super soothing when you apply it to your temples, your scalp during a headache. But y'all, you haven't lived until you've experienced a private, hot, steamy rub down behind closed doors. Just be careful with this stuff because it's intense, and don't forget to dilute. And be careful with where you put it, because I happen to know a few men who have forgotten to wash their hands before they visit the men's room, and they remember quickly what they've been touching. So peppermint can be considered a spicy oil, and it's also in the starter kit. So this is often one of the first oils we learn to use. And it's not actually hot, it's cool when applied topically in a spicy sort of hot way. So try that one out. Oh, and did I mention that it tastes great? Okay, so I have a few more blends to share that can be used in a bedside bowl, or you can add it to your massage oil, or you can just add it to a roller bottle and have it ready that way. But the goal is to have something that's super accessible by your bedside. You don't want to have to be opening bottles and counting out drops or messing with that. You want to either be able to dip your hand in a bowl, or you want to have a dropper that you can squeeze it in, or you want to have a roller bottle that you can just rub it on right there. Just make it easy. You don't want to spoil the mood by having to mess with lids. You'll find that's going to be a big help. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So we're going to talk about bonding. So memories are forged in both negative and positive ways. They create healthy and unhealthy roadmaps in our minds. So utilizing the limbic system Essential oils and a deliberate bonding exercise can help to create nourishing memories that speak life to your soul and forge a strong, intimate bond between you and your spouse. Some of you are familiar with my book, Truth Drops, and I have scriptural exercises in there. And so that kind of is the same concept where you're speaking it aloud and you are, and you're helping to associate the oil with the words of life that you're speaking out. And so you can do that together as a couple too. You can even write out things that you want to say to each other and do it with the oils. We really are fearfully and wonderfully made. So if we can edify one another with our words while we're using the essential oils, that can really have a strong bonding effect. The limbic system in the brain supports many of the brain functions that we take for granted: adrenaline stimulation, behavior, motivation, olfaction, our sense of smell, and long-term memory. This intricate system, which also influences our autonomic nervous system, the heartbeat, the breathing, digestive, all that stuff, and the endocrine system, which is our hormones and sexual function, sleep, all that, is a complex and powerful part of our overall creation. So healthy bonding with those God gives us is what makes us whole. But there's actually physiological changes that take place in the brain when that happens. And since essential oils pass through the blood-brain barrier, this could be huge in the quest to enhance healthy relationships. All right, so essential oils can help with bonding, intimacy, relationship healing, hormones, and libido. Now, let me be clear. Essential oils in and of themselves don't heal relationships, okay? But because of their relaxing nature and the power of the limbic system, it can still have a huge effect. They can be a powerful, powerful resource, especially when you're working through conflict or past hurts, emotional stuff. It can be really helpful. So, goldenrod. So how many of you have ordered this one before? The name says it all. Also known as lightning rod, okay? And I'm serious about that. You can't make this stuff up. That's what it's called. We included this essential oil in our lightning rod and again, men's recipes, and it's best applied by hand, by your hand. I doubt you'll get any argument from him. So this rock solid favorite is distilled from the flowering tops of the plant, which blooms in the fall. And because of its popularity, Young Living has a hard time keeping this one available. So stock up whenever you can so you don't ever run out in the spring, because that would just be sad. I have had people offer me a lot of money for my last bottle of goldenrod before. So you would be surprised how desperate people get. And remember, ladies, goldenrod is for him, which is in turn for you. So you're welcome. A little goes a long way, and it can be used on your or his inner thighs too. So remember that. And there's your recipe. You can screenshot that. Okay, the Again blend. This recipe too speaks for itself. We've talked a lot about our favorite lady oils. So now it's the guy's turn. There are a lot of essential oils that smell masculine and are powerful aphrodisiac for both him and her. We've talked about goldenrod and Northern Lights black spruce. This recipe contains both of these two big guns. And again, no pun intended, plus sandalwood and myrrh. In fact, you may be downright inspired by his longevity again and again and again. Song of Solomon says, his cheeks are like a bed of spices, banks of scented herbs. His lips are lilies, dripping liquid myrrh. All right, turn up the heat. So here is a recipe. This is my favorite of all time bedroom diffuser recipes, and it can be used topically too. But I love to diffuse this in my bedroom. I don't diffuse this ever anywhere else in my house. It is only for my bedroom. I love to be able to, start the diffuser, close the door, and walk in 30 minutes later, and the room just feels like a spa. It's just amazing because, the light from the diffuser's going, and then the aroma is just all, it has been trapped in there. So it's wonderful. So that's the kind of experience I want to have when we walk into the bedroom together. I want it to feel spa-like, like it's our own little private sanctuary. But that is an excellent, and you can use equal parts And yeah, no need to diffuse, to dilute. All right, this is a blend. Again, speaks for itself. You're going to want to keep this little blend right on the nightstand on your husband's side of the bed. Just saying, that's just a little tip from me to you. Make sure he knows where it is. All right, Shutron. How many people have tried that one yet? If you can only buy one oil for your husband, pick this one. You can thank me later. He's going to love it. This blend was specifically created for men. A lot of men and some women use Shutron as a cologne, but Shutron is not just a cologne. Okay, yes, it smells amazing, and I understand why everybody wants to use it as a cologne, and it's great for that. But it's the powerful constituents in Shutron that make the magic happen. Okay, I remember when Gary first introduced this oil, and he stood up there and he said, "Okay, I just want to say, I am not responsible for all the babies that are going to be born this year." It was formulated for him to make her happy to see him, all of him. So those happy hormones working overtime. So get your man some Shutran and he will thank you for it, but you'll enjoy it too. All right. And it's, by the way, it's loaded with Idaho blue spruce, if that makes a difference. It also has a ylang-ylang. All right. Progescence Plus. This oil blend has been a life changer for so many women. Seriously, this blend is to women what Shutron is to men. So I am 56 years old and I feel better than I did in my 40s. But Progescence Plus isn't just for us older ladies. Women young and old are going to benefit from Progescence Plus. It's not a magic pill. It simply supports your body and what it was already created to do. That's the beauty of essential oils. They work together to help your body do what it's supposed to do. Progesterone production decreases as we age, and it also tends to drop after childbirth. So these women are especially going to, anybody that's starting premenopausal symptoms and women after childbirth, but even preteen girls can benefit from progesterone because it's helping your body do what it's supposed to do. It's 100% plant-based and made with bioidentical progesterone from wild yams. So it's 100% plant-based. It also contains copaiba, sacred frankincense, cedarwood, bergamot, peppermint, and clove. Also, hormones play such a big role in how we are doing sexually. So we're not going to get it, the class would be too long if we really dove into hormones. That's a separate class. But I do want to encourage everybody. There is a Happy Hormone Challenge going on for Team YL. If somebody wants to pop the link to that in the comments section, we can, we just want to encourage you to go ahead and join that group because you're going to get a lot of good info there. The code is 2023 wellness, and join that and you're going to learn all about hormones there. That's going to be super helpful. Plus, Tina, what are the dates on the hormone classes that we have scheduled for February?
On the 16th at noon, we have one that's going to be a fireside chat style on hormone testimonies. So that's going to be great. It's not going to be recorded. So you want to come and be there present at noon Central. And then on the 21st, we have a class on hormones and we're going to focus on teens. And that's also at noon.
Nature Red is so good for building up energy. And I just had a whole conversation with a lady who's been using it at bedtime every night. And she said, I was always afraid to use it at bedtime because, I thought, oh, it's going to keep me awake. But it didn't. It was like, I can use it in the morning or the evening. It's like, yeah, well, that's when God gives us things in nature. It doesn't go against what our body wants to do the way that drugs do. It actually nourishes our body and it helps our body do what it's supposed to be doing. So it is a powerful nutrient infused antioxidant drink, and it nourishes every system in our body. So if you need some energy and you want to get back in the game that way, have some Nature Red, and that might be a good thing to give your husband when he's come home from work, or if you get home from work and you're just thinking maybe I'm too tired for this tonight, that Nature Red may be exactly what you need. So crack open a couple of wine glasses and pour yourself some Ninja. All right. And so Tina is going to talk to us a little bit how we can get started on these things.
Okay, guys, was that so good? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that we were here. I wanted to just wrap us up with sharing with you some of the ways you can grab some of these things. Now, if you're new here, you were invited by someone, you want to get with that person right now, like before midnight Mountain Time, because Young Living has had a 15% off sale for the last several days, and it ends tonight at Mountain Time at midnight. So make sure that you grab them, grab their link, and go and put these things. Stacy, do you have the wish list? You want to share that while I'm talking?
Oh, sure. Yeah, let me find
And
that.
then this wish list has almost everything she's talked about and then some, I think. On the wish list, it doesn't mean you have to add all of them to the cart, but you can add the things that really spoke to you. Hello, black pepper, right? So go and grab that list. And if you are a Young Living member, you can grab that list as well, and you can go and log into your own account and place an order. So new customers, 15% off your total order. You don't need a coupon code. It's going to take it off right at the beginning. But here's a hot tip, no pun intended. Put this on your first Loyalty Rewards order. What is Loyalty Rewards? That is our rewards program. It's where we get to customize what comes to our door every single month. Say yes, trust me. We've had some great sisterly talk tonight. Trust me on this one too. Say yes to Loyalty Rewards, because I promise you, when your order hits 100 PV, you're going to get 10 extra points. On that first order, you're going to get 10% back anyway. So if you placed a 100 PV order tonight, that's after the 15% off, you're going to get 20 points, which is just like dollars, put into an account. Now with Healthy Living, we just don't have a coupon system anymore, right? If you cut coupons and you go shopping for couponed items, they're toxic, gross things that we don't use in our life, right? So Young Living's loyalty program is our way of being able to put these things into our budget. We transfer some of those spending items that are already on our budget, and we stop buying the gross toxic laden things, and then we buy the Young Living equivalent that's all natural and is life-giving. And so we put that on our loyalty rewards. So here's the deal. The first 3 months on loyalty, you get 10% back. If it's over 100 PV, most months you get an additional 10% back. You get freebies at 190 PV, 250 PV, and 300 PV. But on month 4, you're not going to believe this, but Young Living doubles that. It goes from 10 to 20%. So now that 100 PV, you're getting $20 back and an additional at 100 PV. This is how we do it. I can tell you in my household, I have an account. My husband has an account. We both maximize the gifts with purchase every month. And I put my supplements on there. I put my Ningxia Red on there. I put my household cleaners, my shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, mouthwash, toothpaste, just name it. I'm a grandmother now. I put my seedling supplies for my baby's bath and all of that on there. And then I take those points. I just look to have over 300 points. That's over $300. I can cash in and I can get the things on the wish list that I want, because I would say over 90% of what's in our product line is ER point or loyalty reward point redemption eligible. That means you take that money, you take those PVs, those loyalty reward points, and you cash in. You spend it just like at the checkout. There's a drop down screen, and you just drop down and check all the boxes, and you pay for the shipping, and boom, you have hundreds of dollars worth of amazing things in your hot little hands for you to splurge and enjoy. I don't feel bad about spending $75 on my face cream. I don't feel bad about $75 on my frankincense, because I'm getting it for free. Okay. So get with the person who invited you here tonight. Ask them to show you how we do it. Show them how you are going to cash in on all the things, get the gifts with purchase, and you can get it all the free things. So we appreciate you guys coming tonight.